All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? Appreciate each and every one of you being here as usual. And we got some people already in here in the chat, live, watching, waiting. I got a couple announcements. One, I'm dying. Okay. Not literally, but my back feels like it's slowly trying to kill me. Woke up with terrible lower back pain today. So if I stop talking all of a sudden, you know why. I'm trying not to scream into my microphone. Secondly, what's up, Loyalist? We got a news that popped in just a couple hours ago, directly affecting this specific stream.
Yes.
Right? Holy cow. And it came as a shock to a lot of people, even if they were wanting Rodrigo released. No one actually expected it, right?
Yeah. You just weren't sure. I mean, because you see the roster, you see the Banagoos and stuff that they keep giving that second and third opportunity, and you were just thinking, okay, how quick is that trigger going to be, if there is even a trigger? Honestly, I after the game Sunday, guys, I was on red alert for the whole Blankenship topic. You know, I mean, and honestly, it took me a couple days just to find some sort of level. Thank you for that, by the way, Lawrence. But the thing was it shows that, you know, you heard going all in with this year. They didn't let this fester. They didn't let this continue to be a problem. And I understand we don't have a set solution. Like you said in today's earlier video, we didn't have one with Matt Ryan, and that worked out pretty darn good. You know, there are things that you just have to sometimes rip that Band-Aid off and figure it out as you go. And I would argue that this was definitely, in my book, for sure, was top on the list.
Well, the Colts did sign a few people, kickers, dropped them on the practice squad. The big deal is, yes, we got the Badger, the money Badger, Badgley. We also have a couple other guys on the practice squad just for fun. Yeah, just basically serious kicking competition throughout this week, and made the best one win, basically, right?
Yeah, you said they brought Badgley, because I knew they brought McLaughlin
and they signed Badgley.
Wow. Okay. See there. So that's three. Like I said, I knew of the two, the McLaughlin, which, if you guys remember, he helped us out in 2019 season. You know, when Vinatieri was struggling and stuff, he helped us get to the end of that season.
So, real quick, I see 20 of you in here. Appreciate you. Hit that like button. Thank you so much. Massive announcement. All right, for me specifically. All right, as you know, I have this show, the Colts Law Show, and I also have the Believe in Colts show with Gerard Powers. Well, we signed on another co-host for the Believe in Colts. It'll be three of us. It'll be me, Gerard Powers. Oh yeah, and the safety for the current safety for the Indianapolis Colts, former Philadelphia Eagle, Rodney McLeod, has signed on to be a co-host on Believe in Colts. So we will have an active Colts veteran player for Believe in Colts to talk to after every game of the week for the Indianapolis Colts. That is going to be awesome. Make sure you share you share Believe, this channel and all that out to everybody, because there's no one else that has that. There's no one else that has a podcast with an active player for the Colts on there to give you the exact thoughts of that specific thing during games and stuff like that. So this is going to be absolutely fantastic. I am super excited about having Rodney McLeod as a co-host. So was Gerard. Gerard's excited as well. This is going to be absolutely fun. All right.
That's awesome, man. I gotta say, shout out to Believe and you and JP for all the hard work you guys have been doing. I mean, and like you said, that insight, that's just awesome. I mean, that's something that, like you said, not only will not other people have that, but the thing is the way you handle your business and the way that Rodney is just really able to articulate what's going on and stuff. I cannot wait to sit there and listen to you guys on the daily.
Absolutely, man. All right, guys. So, again, if you want to help this stream, make sure you hit the like button every time. Not just the stream, obviously, but the channel itself. Share it to your favorite social media. And if you got a couple extra bucks and feel like, you want to help, I just been informed that I need to upgrade my microphone by the Believe network. They said I really need to upgrade this here. It's a Blue Snowball. They sent me a link to a new one that they want me to use, but I don't have the money for it. But if you want to help, feel free. Use that link in the description right there at the top of the description of the video, and I'll make sure that gets put to good use. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's people like you, right? It's people like you is why we do this for. So thank you so much. Now, hey, Adrian in here. Your podcast is already the best, getting better every day and season. Thank you so much. Did we get Bashley back? Zombies Flanders asks, yes. What's going on, Chaz? Appreciate you being in here. All right. So we've already discussed this. Is it an upgrade? Are we getting better at kicker? Well, we'll find out, right? We'll find out. Best of luck, first off, to Rodrigo Blankenship. All right. He's a likable dude. Very, very likable dude. And even you, Loyalist, can admit that you saw improvement in this dude during training camp. Don't have no idea what the hell happened in the fourth quarter and overtime in that game, though.
Oh, no. And the thing is I've been a staunch supporter of Hot Rod, okay? So my feelings weren't like, just, based on one game. I mean, there's been the questions and stuff. But like you said, in training camp, for the last 2 years, we've seen Hot Rod increase that distance. And my argument for everybody has always been Hot Rod's problem isn't with accuracy. It's always been with distance. And we've been getting that distance. But the thing is once that accuracy starts going to the wayside, now, and honestly, I could have even handled the kicks. Okay. I really could have handled the missed kick in overtime, but the kickoffs, for the love of everything holy, the kickoffs are the ones that I was just like, I couldn't get my mind past. And I understand it's not his job. It wasn't his job. But the thing is like you said in your video earlier today, he's been practicing this. It wasn't like the Colts just sat there and said, what the heck, go give it a wing. No, I mean, I like the young man. I feel like, honestly, he gets another chance. I would not be surprised at all to sit there and watch. We talked about Jared Hughes, how he just didn't work out with the Colts, went to the Buffalo, and ever since then his career's been, soaring. I could see Hot Rod doing the same thing. I like the guy. The thing is for me, he didn't have that clutch factor. He didn't, when you really needed something from that position, you fell flat a lot more than you should have at that point.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. I did not realize that Hot Rod has been practicing kickoffs since the day he came in every day, right? That the Colts had him doing that. Had I known that, my ideas about Hot Rod, my thoughts about that would have been much different. I just found this out today, right? That he had been practicing every day. And, I thought that they just started having him do that ever since, Sanchez went down with the injury. Now, come to find out he's been doing it every day. There's no excuse. None. All right. Done. All right. I'm okay with moving on. I still think that the man has a shot, obviously, of still making a team in the NFL. Maybe even this year. We all know that kickers, pull hammies and all groins and stuff like that all the time. He'll probably be called on to do practicing and stuff like that. Some kickers just, start the season off or whatnot, or go through bad stretches. They'll bring him in, have him kick, and he'll probably do incredibly well because he did in practices,
Mm-hmm.
but game time is a different story. I'd like to move on. I would like to move on from the kicker situation because we're already 10 and a half minutes in. And I have, right after this stream, I was asked this morning to join a Jaguars podcaster to go over the game this weekend. So I don't have a whole lot of time and my back is killing me. So I'll need a little bit of time to recuperate from doing this live stream. Content. Yeah. I am all in on making content. I don't care if I am sitting here going through all kind of pain. There was a good question up here. I'm going to bring it in. Bad end. Here we go. That's a great question. Is the Florida weather on the worries list? That's actually a really good question because playing in Florida, it is hot and humid. And that is a major advantage. And one of the reasons why certain teams have problems playing in Florida. New England's been, playing in Florida terribly, when they go in and play against Miami once a year. The Colts, in Jacksonville, that situation. Yes, it is a worry. But, you just got to prepare. It's easier to prepare for that, in my opinion, than it is to prepare for, say, Mile High. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the thing is for me, whenever I was sitting here thinking about today's show, worries is things that you can control. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the weather's going to be what it is. We don't know if it's going to rain, snow. We just don't know. But like you said, that's something that you just have to prepare and be professional about and handle. The things I was thinking about with today's show was, things that the organization had some say in and stuff. But I do agree that weather is no joke. Getting it at this time of season may even be more problematic. You look at other stadiums like Buffalo and stuff, you don't want to see them in December, because on the other spectrum, you got the cold and the snow. It's similar with Jacksonville. But like I said, I really believe with the training camp and the conditions that these guys had to train under and stuff, that it really shouldn't be that big of an issue. I mean, you look out here today, and I get it. It's gray and overcast, and this is probably not what they're going to see in Jacksonville next week. But the thing is you can't control that. All you can do is prep your guys, and I felt like training camp should have gave them at least a little bit of prep for that.
Oh, I disagree. You can prepare for that. You make them train indoors inside that building on West 56 and crank the heat up to sauna. Okay. That's how you prepare for a game like that in Jacksonville. And just do that all week and just be like, hey, before you come in here, you better have about 5 bottles of water with you. All right. That's all I got to say.
Well, if they go and do that, they're going to have to reduce some of these contracts because that electric bill is going to be ridiculous for that Jaguar week.
Tom brings up a great point. If we play like we did in the fourth quarter and overtime, we beat Jacksonville. And here's something that Gerard talked about in the podcast that we recorded yesterday, right? He said, look, the offense had trouble clicking early on, and they're going to, but it sure looked like they were starting to get let's face it, their shit together in the fourth quarter and overtime.
Yeah.
And that should carry over into the next game, right? So that's a positive thing to look forward to, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and the thing is even in the first 3 quarters, the offense after the first 2-3 and outs, they did start moving the ball. They did start opening the holes. JT, it wasn't like JT only went off on the 4. We were running the ball. I understand the passing wasn't as ideal, but there again, Michael Pittman Jr. and Matt Ryan have showed that that bond between them two is already connected and strong. And the thing is now it's like, who's going to fill those voids? Who's going to make it so that we're not just a one-dimensional or 2-dimensional team?
Absolutely. Now let's get into some other worries that we have heading into, going from the Texans game, heading into Jacksonville? What are some of these worries that you actually have that's carrying over from week one? Name one worry that's going to carry over from week one to week two.
Surprisingly to me, Braden Smith. I was really watching the O-line, and I've gone through and watched the game now like 3 times. I'm still waiting for the all-22 to come out so I can really look at it. But the thing was, we were worried about Matt Pryor and Bernard Ryman doing that whole rotational thing, and Danny Pinter. And no, they didn't have perfect days. But the one thing that we had sort of banked on was that Ryan Kelly, Quentin Nelson, and Braden Smith were going to just be pillars. And I would argue that if Braden Smith was a pillar in last week's game, that building is like on the Leaning Tower of Pisa, you know what I mean? Because he did not have a good day, and the thing is this isn't just this year, he struggled throughout last year and stuff. And I'm just wondering what's going on, and is it something personal? Is it something schematically? But like I said, I just really do see Braden Smith, and it's been more of an occurrence now that it's no longer just he'll get past that. Now I'm seeing it more and more, and I'm really starting to concern me a little bit at that right end, because I mean we're counting, on him being one of the movers to help this run game. And I would argue that between him and Mo Alley Cox, they let a lot of pressure come in on that right side.
Adrian, here's a worry that I have. Okay. Look, I love Julian Blackman. I think he has all the talent in the world, but you cannot bite on play action when your job is the number one tight end. Okay. And he's on your side. You cannot bite on that play action. You got to make sure. I mean, you could bite if the tight end is staying in to block, but if he's running past you, you better keep an eye on him. Otherwise, OJ Howard is going in 2 different times behind you for a touchdown. Okay. I don't want to see that. All right. That worries me a little bit. Now, obviously, this is a situation where I am 100% sure the position coach has got, Mike Mitchell's got him in that film room right now going, look what the hell you just did, dude. I'm positive that that's what's going on, and he's banging it through his head, because Mike is great at film, breaking down and teaching film. So I'm sure Julian has been getting an earful ever since he got back from Texas on Sunday, but it's still a little bit of a worry. Another worry I have is still drops. Okay. Now we talk about this, and we a lot of people are like, well, Frank Reich even said, well, he didn't really drop it that much. No, but the whole team did. There was a lot of drops during training camp and practice or in preseason, right? There was quite a few that we've seen, and I don't want to see these drops. That's worrisome to me. Being able, once you catch a football, securing it, it wasn't that he dropped the Ashton Doolin touchdown pass. That wasn't a drop. That was a securing issue. Okay. He caught the ball. He didn't drop it. It got swatted right out of his hands by the safety because he didn't bring it up and secure it immediately. Right. He actually caught it and then let it go down to his lap. And then the safety just swatted out of his head. You can't do that, right? You have to make it to where it's instinct for you in your brain that as soon as that ball comes into your hand, it instantaneously goes up against your body and secured one way or another, So that worries me a little bit. I'm not too worried about Alec Pierce in the drop issues because Frank's right. He didn't have a lot of drops specifically. Pierce didn't during training camp and practice. But as a team in a whole, we've seen a lot. And that's something we cannot do in Jacksonville.
Yeah. And to that point is like I said, you're going to have some of that with just being young. Okay. But you look at where you're getting it now is Kylan Granson. He's on his second year. I think Kylan is getting more consistent, but he is also still a guy who consistently drops the opportunities, and we didn't really feel a lot of those this week, this last week, because he did make the key catches and stuff. But the thing is I would argue that he had 3 very catchable passes. That one that was over the, way above his head and stuff. I'm not putting that as a drop or on him. I think Matt Ryan would also agree that that was an errant pass. Like I said during the reaction, I'm like, hey, he's the short fella. The rest of the guys are the tall ones. He acted like he was throwing at the Jelani Woods. But something else I'm looking at and I love the fact that it got addressed in today with the pressers with Coach Bradley was the limited rotation that we had at the D line. We've been talking, this D line depth interior is of a concern. And outside of outside of Tyquan Lewis, Dio didn't have hardly any snaps. I think less than 10, if I'm not mistaken. We just didn't have a lot of production outside of the starters. I mean, don't get me wrong. Grover was a man-child. I mean, he went out there and did his job beautifully, But when you've got Defoe getting almost 90% of the snaps, Yannick Ngakoue just a couple percentages lower than that. I mean, these guys, their game is, especially with this scheme, is about full throttle, hair on fire, straight to the quarterback. Well, the thing is if there's tongues wagging out because they've been at, on the field so much that you're going to lose that. And the thing is I get it. We've got a lot of young pieces there, but they've got to find something to help give these guys so we don't run into another Baltimore Ravens game of 2021. We don't run into where, where these guys are just gassed and got nothing, and they're just like, they get to their position and they're like, please don't run the ball. Please don't run the ball. We don't need that. We need these guys to have the energy and not that they can't handle it. They'll do a good job and stuff, but I would argue that this defense will get better once that rotation gets a little bit deeper.
Yeah, and like you said, Gus Bradley, he mentioned that the three guys out there, with Stewart and Quiddy and Grover, they played 80% of the snaps. 80%, which is a hell of a lot better than the 95% that they were looking at last year. But still, you want to get that down to around 70. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that gives them a little, I mean, you want your best players on the field, but at the same time, you want to be able to, it's a long season and a long games. All right. And these other guys out here, besides Tyquan, really needs to step up their game so they can get more snaps and help with that rotation, as you say. One thing I was positive about after looking at the film a little bit, as our wide receivers were getting open, like all of them. It just happened that Matt Ryan, there was times where Matt Ryan had 2-3 different options on passes that were guys open, and he just chose the easiest one to throw to generally. And I mean, multiple times I saw Paris Campbell wide open. I mean, wide open, but he wasn't looking at him or something, that which happens. I mean, you can only look at half the field at a time, right? So if you're looking down the middle, you're not seeing the edges. If you're looking to the left or, you're not seeing the right, that type of situation. So I can't put that all on Matt Ryan. He's got to go through his progressions just like any other quarterback. It's just how quick is he going through, and he just goes to the first one he sees it open. And I'm all good about that. Just got to catch that stupid football.
Yeah. It's just like that one pass where Paris Campbell is like, he finds a soft spot in the zone, and 57 makes a spectacular, just barely tips it. That right there would have been a nice 20+. That screen pass that got intercepted by Hughes. I mean, holy heavens, if Matt Ryan could just take an extra beat and get a better line of sight to him, that screenplay is going for 30+ yards if it's not going to the house. I mean, there was nobody that was going to be able to get in JT's way until he'd already done a lot of damage, Well,
I will, yeah. To Adrian's point, I'm sorry, I'm just going to cut in here because this is kind of the Texans averaged less than 3 yards a carry against the Colts in that game. Mm-hmm. Less than 3 yards a carry. So I'm not upset about that part at all. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
And the thing is back to that is that we've got young talent. Okay, they just aren't proven. Dio Dangbo. Okay, yeah, Odenigbo. These are some guys that are going to have to build up if anything, build up the confidence in the coaching staff that when they're out there that they're going to make plays. And we've got a couple of young studs on the practice squad that have potential once they get a little healthier.
Yep, absolutely. Surprised that the O-line was a problem rather than wide receivers. I think you've already mentioned that, especially on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
That was a problem over there on the right side with the guard and the tackle. I was surprised that the left side held up better, but to be fair, Jerry Hughes was on that side, on the right side, and he's officially, been ever since he left the Colts. He's been a stud. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, Dabney's right. Braden was woeful. He was, and that's a worry we're carrying into next week. Let's get in here. Miss a Knife. What's up, Miss a Knife? Says, did y'all see the Niners added Marlon Mack to the practice squad? Absolutely, I did see that. I saw that earlier, and good luck to him. He would fit beautifully on that team. Much better than the Texans, in my opinion, because the Niners, the way they run, they use a lot of passing out of the backfield, stuff like that. Marlon Mack can do everything that you ask a running back to do, and that's why I think that's a good fit for Marlon Mack.
Yeah, and like you said, I hope for his sake that he's able to just get out there. You give him that window of opportunity, and he's going to literally, excuse the pun, he's going to run with it. He's going to go out there and prove whatever team that takes their chance on him that he's still a high caliber athlete. I mean, if his confidence in that injury, that's really all it is. Because everything we saw last year in training camp, he still had his explosiveness, and he's got that top end speed, and he's just a good dude. He's one of those guys that whether he's on your team or not, you want to pull for him.
Absolutely. D. Lewis with an interesting question here. He says, do you still do film study? Yes, when I have the opportunity to do so. As of late, like right now, I'm financially in a bind because this past off season hit me pretty hard financially, and I got behind on my bills, so I had to make cuts, right? And one of those cuts was NFL Game Pass. I'm sorry. I will get NFL Game Pass back, or NFL Plus as it's called now, back as soon as I'm able to catch up with the rest of my bills. Because frankly, I can't do any streams at all if I don't have electricity, internet, or a house. So, but yes, I still look at it. I do have people give me some, coaches film, all 22 film that I can look at. That's how I actually looked at the wide receivers the other today, and found out, wow, they were open a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Tom says Matt Ryan looked damn good, in my opinion. He did, other than the center quarterback exchange, which we're going to now talk about that. Is that something, the center quarterback exchange, is that something that you carry on as a worry from week 1 to week 2? I'll let you have this one.
I do not. Honestly, guys, all training camp, no problems. Everything was fine. Okay. And the thing is you're talking about two very, well-versed at their positions. Matt Ryan and Ryan Kelly both are Pro Bowl players that they're going to work it out. Okay. I don't honestly, like I said, in Discord after the game, that as far as where it fell it didn't even hardly make my radar. It really did. I'm more worried about Shaquille Leonard and stuff like that, because honestly, I really believe that these guys are going to work it out. It wasn't a problem until this week. And I don't get me wrong, I definitely agree it was a problem. And it was probably one that's a little bit of both parties involved, so I honestly believe these guys are going to get together and work it out. And the thing is that's something that you can honestly work out real quickly just through, hey, what is it you were experiencing and stuff during film and stuff. And just, like one time I seen looked like Ryan Kelly just pulled out a little early. He got the ball there, but it just looked like he pulled away before Matt Ryan was ready for it. Well, Matt Ryan may not be used to that. And that's something that he's like, okay, I got to make sure and squeeze that. And just putting it to the forefront of his mind, I think, is going to be a helpful piece to the solution part of that.
Sorry, guys. Lower back pain does not do well when you cough. But all right. So I agree. I actually said the same thing Tom Williams said about this earlier. I think Matt and Kelly actually fixed that on the ride home.
Yeah.
That's how I see that. Even Gerard said that. Gerard said that's something they fix on the ride home. That's just something you don't see every day. It's not something that happens and continues to happen. If it did, I'll tell you, it'd be a Ryan Kelly problem and not a Matt Ryan problem. Mm-hmm. All right, that's what it would be. People, you can't blame that. It's just an exchange problem, and it'll get fixed. It's no big deal. Let's talk about what is another issue that happened in week 1 that we can discuss.
For me personally, I want to bring up Shaquille Leonard, because I honestly feel like that could be a very important piece if we can get him back, because I understand that Julian Blackman had bit on some play actions and stuff, but I honestly believe that the linebackers, as I was going through watching the football games, and I felt like the linebackers in pass coverage were lacking. I felt like they could have helped, especially on that second touchdown for Howard. I felt like that Bobby O was just not even acknowledging that Howard was streaking down the center, the seam of the field, and to me, I feel like if Shaq was there, you're going to get more of those explosive plays, but you're also just going to get better coverage. And this is not me sliding EJ Speed or Zaire Franklin. They're just not Shaq Leonard. That's just plain and simple. The dude is special. Yeah, he's special. You know what I mean? And the thing is if we can get him healthy and get him out there producing at 80 or 90%, I do believe that also will be an upgrade. Not to mention that I feel like I was surprised by a little bit of the talent that the Texans had in certain areas, but I still would argue that Jacksonville has still got more talent than what the Texans have as a whole on the roster.
Yeah, that's a good point, but I do want to see Shaquille Leonard out there for the Jacksonville game, even if he only plays half the snaps or a quarter of the snaps, something, because that puts a fear into quarterbacks and running backs and anyone going into his area, because the first thing that goes to their mind is, crap, I got to hold on to this stinking football, right? They ain't worried about juking or all that. They're more worried about, I got to secure this bad boy because there's that dude coming at me with that fist. So that's less yardage that they're going to get. It's going to put that doubt in their head having him out on the field. So that's something that I really, really want to see him out there. Do you think, now this is kind of a weird thing that I want to talk about. Hold on. What else was said here? Hold on. We saw something, because I'm sorry, the chat is just blowing up. Lack of turnovers. That's why we're talking about Shaquille. Is obvious right there. Penalties was a big deal. We shot ourselves in the foot multiple. We weren't as bad penalty wise as the Denver Broncos were last night, but they are still something that the Colts generally keep really, really low. And again, that is a week 1. I think that is a week 1 thing that, they're just getting in the groove of things, getting back into the idea of football. And honestly, the Kenny Moore thing, no, I thought Kenny Moore played a good game. I don't care what certain people out there are saying. That PI call was complete and utter BS. All right. That referee had a bad angle on that and called it because he guessed what it was, because he never actually grabbed his arm. That was perfect coverage by Kenny Moore from what I could tell. Okay. And for the most part, I thought he did well. One of those touchdowns was put on Kenny Moore by some people out there to OJ Howard. No, that was both of those were Blackman's fault. Okay. So I think Kenny did a fairly good job. I thought Stephon Gilmore did a fantastic job. I thought Brandon Facyson did a great job as well. People want to complain of it that Rodgers wasn't out there at all. How are you going to complain about Rodgers not being out there when the guy you want him to replace did a good job? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about, okay, he had to go out there. Rodgers is 5'10", Brandon is 6'2". It's all about, matchups. And Brandon was the better matchup in that situation. I think Rodgers will play plenty this season. Just, it's going to be a matchup. Plus, we've been in base formations. 70% of the time we were in base formation against the Texans, which means there's only 2 cornerbacks out there.
Yeah, and the thing is Isaiah Rodgers Sr., I get that everybody wants him out there, but like you said, Facyson, I think, only got like 46% of the snaps. We just didn't get out of the base. And the thing is you start interchanging these pieces, but that's when you're trying to keep them fresh, or or you're like you said, you got a matchup. None of that even came into play. Facyson wasn't going to be tired with 46% of the snaps. This dude played like 88% of the snaps last year for the Raiders, all season. So the thing is there's just a lot to sit there and hold on to, because, hey, it's great having this depth and stuff, but to sit there and make that a worry for me, there was plenty of other things that the team had done and stuff that I didn't believe warranted mentioning that Isaiah Rodgers Sr. wasn't getting his snaps.
There was a difference between touching his arm and grabbing his arm. His hand never clasped down on his arm. The hand wrist to the dude's arm, and then when he moved it up, his hand slid across. He never actually grabbed. Okay, never actually grabbed. I went through that in slow-mo and looked at it. That's why I was saying that it looked like it, and it was a bad angle, and that's why it was called that. But it is what it is. Hey, the Colts were bad for 3 quarters. Absolutely. 100% awful all the way around the board. Awful. But I thought they did pretty good there at the end.
Real quick, guys, we got 50 of you in here. Do me a favor. Take a moment, smash that like button. If you like the content and stuff, please hit that subscribe. Make sure you ring the notification bell. That way you're notified anytime we go live. All right, guys, because we really want to get this out. And if you got a moment, share it out to any of the platforms that you guys, social media platforms that you use. We really appreciate it.
And while I have a moment, I'm way late on doing this, but I've been having fun talking. Go check out Newsbreak. I drop Newsbreak specific content. It's the only place you can find it. You will not find it on social media. You will not find it here on YouTube. You can only find it on Newsbreak. The link is in the description. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes. This channel is proudly sponsored by the Backroom Collection. They do beautiful sports canvas art with football, basketball, baseball, and other sports themes. Special orders are accepted and autograph pieces are available. Many Indianapolis Colts signed pieces will be available beginning in November. Just use your discount code CL10 to purchase the pieces you want to spice up your living area. That's CL10. So appreciate each and every one of you again. Thank you so much. Man, with 50 people in here, I expect 50 likes. So that's just me, but appreciate you.
And I'll tell you right now, you got to love our Discord, because we got a guy in there. Joey B says, "I'm going to the game this week, and don't worry, guys, I'll keep the kicks in bounds." Joey B, you go, my guy.
Absolutely. All right. So here's speaking of the Discord. If you're interested in joining a Discord that absolutely has a great time, watches the games, in Discord, hangs out, does stuff of that nature, just talk and all that stuff. Feel free and join. I'll drop the link to my Discord right here in the chat. Again, for those of you coming in late, because there's only 20 of you in here before, there's over 50 of you now. My special announcement is that I have now with me on my other podcast, the Believe in Colts podcast. Not only do I have co-host Gerard Powers, but I also have current safety Rodney McLeod joining as a co-host for the Believe in Colts podcast. And that will be up every week. It's going to be awesome to have a current Colts player who is in the locker room on the field and give their opinion about what has happened. And we haven't decided whether he's going to be there to do reviews of games or previews of games. We still have a lot of that to work out, but that's freaking awesome, you know. Let's see. Tracy heard Ryan was upset about the calls from the sideline not coming in quick enough in the fourth quarter. Did you hear? Oh, that's because, Tom, I'm going to tell you something. They were in hurry up mode. Okay. They went into hurry up mode in the fourth quarter, which caught the Texans off guard. I don't know why. We were down 3 scores, but it still caught them off guard. Right. And Matt Ryan is one of those people who likes things a specific way. He wants everybody on top of their job, including the play caller, which is who? Frank Reich. Okay. Which means Matt Ryan being on the team is going to make Frank Reich more efficient at his job. What? That's something we didn't think about.
Yeah, and the thing is there again, that's something that you can only practice it, emulate it until you get into game time speed. That's a week 1 thing. That's a week 1 thing that, you know, like I feel like with the snaps. Now, don't get me wrong. If next week we have some more muff snaps, then it's going to definitely become an issue. But right now it's just a week 1, you know, sort of glitched into the matrix or whatever you want to call it, that once these guys sort it out and they know what to expect from each other now. I mean, let's be honest, this was a lot of these guys' first games together, you know, give them time. This is stuff that, you know, I believe they'll process and get sorted out within next week or the week after.
I don't remember seeing this. Whoa. What's this right here? He said he was lazy and half-assed the kick. Who said that? Rod said that?
No, he said that he was having problems. He said it was he when he was kicking it and stuff. He said he was lazy with his technique and his follow through was very lacking. Yeah, he really did himself no favors. You know, I mean, I understand he might have been being honest, but he used a few words in there that as soon as you hear him, you're like, no, you didn't. And that may be something else that also maybe help push this along a little bit quicker than what it did.
I know he turned comments off on his Instagram account. I mean, because I'm sure he was getting all kinds of feedback from fans, you know. Just saying. I'm not going to quote anything that was said because there was probably some really bad stuff. But hey, still good luck to him and good luck to the Colts. Hope that our new kicker, whoever it may end up being, because they're all fighting for the job, all 3 of the guys, maybe 4 now. Heck, they might have got our practice squad might be nothing but kickers by the end of the week. All right. Just to find the best one. Because let's be fair, options for kickers after week 1 is not going to be very deep. You know, there's not going to be a lot of really great. It's not like we're going to go out here and find ourselves a Justin Tucker after week 1. It's just all there is to it. But
I wanted to bring this up. Hot Rod saying at least we didn't lose looked really bad. And I agree, because that was the mindset. You know, I mean, that was just sort of the no. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I understand it, like the snaps, okay? Matt Ryan took blame for it. Matt Ryan, that's on me. I got to get better. Ryan Kelly did the same thing. That's on me. I got to get better. These guys are accepting it. And you know, maybe deep in their heart, they're like, that son of a gun did not squeeze that thing whenever I got it back there, or he didn't, But the thing is you don't sit there, you don't let that mentality definitely go out to the public, definitely go out to a group of people that you're trying to get root for you and believe in you. And honestly, you heard Coach talk about it yesterday, and you heard Bubba today. None of these guys felt like they had any confidence that Hot Rod would go out and perform when they needed him to. And the thing is if you have a kicker that you don't trust, as much as you love to beat up on kickers and stuff, if you don't have a kicker that you don't trust, it affects the way that you call your game. It affects the way that things are done and stuff. And the thing is you cannot have that, especially not in week 1. Okay. You just cannot sit there and find yourself in a position where, okay, it's 4th and 5, but I'm going for it because I don't trust my kicker to get the ball, through the uprights and stuff. You all right, my guy?
Yeah, my cat jumped up on my leg. And then when I rolled to get away from him, I rolled over on the cord on my headphones. I need wireless headphones. Which then pulled that off. And then when I tried to fix it, I knocked this over, and wow. So while you were talking, I was a complete laughing stock. So it's all good. Can we see Hines more, Levi McFadden? Hines was in that game quite a bit, actually.
26% of the snaps. That was it.
That's a lot. For a number 2 running back, that's a lot.
See, there again, I was thinking the same thing. I want to see Nyheim get at least 35. But there again, I felt like there wasn't a whole lot of JT and Nyheim at the same time. And that's what I want to see more. You know what I mean? Because like you said, you don't want to take JT off. He's arguably, and I don't know who's arguing this, but he's arguably your best player on offense, okay? And the thing is you don't want to take him off the field. But why not put them both on the field? You know what I mean? And we saw a lot of that during training camp. We saw a lot of it, maybe that's something we'll see in week 3, week 4, whatever. But man, I definitely was expecting to see more Nyheim with JT on the field.
Well, I get that. And I would like to see him at least line up in 2 running back formations. I would like to see less of him lined up at quarterback and Matt Ryan out at wide receiver. I'm just saying. Okay. Love the fact they went for it. I agreed with going for it, but that call was dumber than shit. Not very often. I'm going to call Frank Reich out on a Clay call. That one was dumb as shit. Okay. Don't do that again, please. Okay.
That's a third
I don't mind.
Yeah,
I don't mind. I don't mind. That's exactly it. I don't mind doing that, but not on 4th down and not at the goal line, right? You could do it at the goal line on 3rd down, like you said, because then at least it gives you the opportunity to kick a field goal if you want to afterwards, right? If it don't work. Don't do it on 4th down because that play can blow up on you, all right? Which it did, all right? So don't do it on 4th down.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And the only thing I would disclose, if you're going to do that, then you got to have Nyheim throwing the ball because there is no way anybody's going to expect that from Nyheim Hines. You haven't seen it, or nothing. And the thing is they, they're like, oh, yeah, they called a good it was easy to call that defense when you see that Nyheim Hines is getting the snap. It's easy to sit there and sell out on the run, especially on the interior.
Exactly. So, guys, thank you all so much for being here. Don't forget, hit the like button. We're 50 minutes in. I have to give my back a little bit of a rest so that I can record here in less than a half an hour with a Jaguars podcaster. I know y'all are like, really? I got to do stuff like that. It's my job. Okay. And besides, I might learn something from, Jaguars side of things, which then in turn, you don't have to do that because I'll bring it to you afterwards. But we are going to be back, obviously, this week to break down the Jaguars game. Keep a lookout on that. Go check out other stuff on the site as well. Thank you so much. If you want to help with the stream, if you've already hit the like button, thank you. If you haven't yet, do it now. If you're not subscribed, what are you waiting on? Make sure you're set up to be notified all the time when I upload or go live, because otherwise YouTube will just pick and choose whenever, and you don't want that to happen because you might miss something important. Thanks for sharing this to your favorite social media, and any donations in the link. Appreciate that as well. I've been keeping an eye. There hasn't been any, but that's okay. I appreciate you guys being here in the first place.
Lastly, guys, don't forget, tomorrow night we have Patreon. It's $5 a month. It gets real lively during the off season's lively enough, but now that we're in the meat of things and everything, great place for you guys. $5 a month. You get a bunch of tons of extra content. Plus on Wednesdays, we get together at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to come on and be on screen, you can, share your thoughts and opinions. If you don't, you can be in the chat just like you are tonight, whatever, but we hope to see you guys there.
As for where it's going to be at, I don't know. I'll have to, I will be, when it comes up, I think we're recording today. And then when it comes up, I will be sharing it on Twitter. So, appreciate all of you. Thank you. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. This guy right here. Yeah, that's Colts Loyalist. And until next time, as usual, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.
I got 99 problems and a Blankenship ain't one.